We've won millions, taken on the largest insurers, and backed up our reputation with big wins in the courtroom. But only one injury case matters, yours. So if you want to win, we're ready to fight for you.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
Good morning, Baltimore. It is Thursday, February 5th. I'm your host, Matt Weyrich, alongside Josh Tolentino, and this is the latest episode of the Early Birds podcast from Sarasota. Josh has joined me down here for Orioles spring training. Now, gotten a couple of days to get your feet wet. How's it been so far?
Man, I think the tan has accelerated.
Seriously,
yeah,
looking crazy.
Like pretty quick. It's still got some sunscreen on, but man, could not be more pumped to be down here. Really just taking in all the surroundings. First-year manager Craig Albernaz. Just yesterday I was on the backfields, really just patrolling and kind of keeping side by side, step by step, everywhere he went. Just seeing what he is like as a manager as he enters his first year in this role. And again, could not be more pumped to really analyze all of this and bring it here on Early Birds and to the Baltimore Sun.
Yeah, it's been a grind here for a couple of weeks now, but glad to have Josh down here, help ease the load a little bit, but also get some insight. Guy patrolling the backfields. He has been out there taking a lot of notes, so looking forward to seeing all the stuff you're going to be writing here over the next few weeks. But we got a fun show for y'all today. We're going to step out from our little mold here. We're just doing Orioles, but we're going to do a draft. And we're going to do a draft to see who can build the team of Orioles that will finish the 2026 season with the highest WAR total. Josh and I will go back and forth picking guys. Here are the rules. We'll fill out an entire lineup. Everyone on the infield plus outfield plus DH. 5 starting pitchers each and 4 relievers each. The players must be currently in the organization now, so no picking Tarek Skubal if you think they're going to trade for him at the trade deadline. And all WAR totals, which will be measured through Fangraphs, must be accumulated with the Orioles. So anybody who is traded away, perhaps if the Orioles don't live up to expectations this year, that will not be factored in as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Josh?
And we're also incorporating current injury statuses.
Yes, so it's
just yesterday, some news on Andrew Kittredge. He has a low probability now to be ready for opening day. So we're taking in how much time he might miss. Guys like Jordan Westberg, obviously Jackson Holliday. So all that in mind as we play this, which should be a pretty fun exercise.
Yeah, and I'm giving Josh the number 1 pick here as I am the beat reporter, so I feel like it's only fair. But I think we know who the number 1 pick is going to be. So why don't you kick us off?
Yep, it is definitely coming out of Duke. Or did he go to North Carolina? Vance Honeycutt.
Oh, God. I mean, 4 home runs. Can't hate the pick.
Man, no, coming out of North Carolina, Vance Honeycutt, no, I'm
you had the Blue Bloods, right?
Yeah, no, just absolutely kidding. After this guy is just perfect at the plate this spring, 4 for 4 with 4 home runs. His latest coming, a towering one against the Astros yesterday. My number 1 pick in this draft has got to be Gunnar Henderson. Currently, with his Team USA teammates gaining this valuable experience, there's just not a better profile on this team in terms of projected WAR, which Fangraphs gives him right now at a flat 6.0. We know all the tools that he brings to the field, and now it's just consistently playing at that MVP level that I know there's the external additions of a Taylor Ward and a Pete Alonso, but if this team wants to get to the point that it wants to be at competing late into the postseason, still not a postseason win with this core under Mike Elias, then Gunnar Henderson, he has to be the man, and he is the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, after he puts together a 9 WAR season in 2024, it definitely feels like the slam dunk pick there. Can't blame you. Wish I could have him, but I understood the assignment when I agreed to go number 2. So I am going to go a little off the wall. Not taking Pete Alonso here, that might feel like the de facto pick, but I'm going Kyle Bradish.
Whoa.
I really do think that Kyle Bradish returns to full form this season. I mean, he was their best pitcher in 2023, and even in his light spurts throughout 24 and 25, has been dominant when on the field. I really think he's going to put it all together. The question is just how many innings he is going to throw this year, and that might limit the total WAR total that he's able to put up. But I really do think that he could be a 5-win player if he, even if he only throws 140, 150 innings. He is that good. The strikeouts are that high potential, which factors very much into WAR, particularly on the Fangraph side. So I'm going to go with Kyle Bradish.
Quick follow-up. So is he your opening day starter? Opening day 3 weeks away, Matt.
I know. I mean, I went into camp saying Bradish, and now after watching Rogers, I started leaning Rogers, but then he gets lit up by Team Netherlands the other day, and I'm like,
some pretty poor fielding. You got to.
There were some outs that should have been made. He shouldn't have been on the field that long, but he did get up 2 home runs, including a blast to Sidney Rafaela. So I think Rogers is going to be the guy, but I mean, my pick is on Bradish for having the better year.
Sneaky pick. All right.
I know. Might have come out of left field for you.
All right. So we've got Gunnar Henderson on Team Josh.
On shortstop.
Yep. And we have Kyle Bradish on the hill.
I'm keeping track. Don't worry.
All right. I'm not going pitching. I'm going Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso first
Man,
base.
I've been having conversations with a couple of scouts who have been rolling through Ed Smith Stadium the past couple of days. I mean, they are. I mean, obviously these are exciting conversations as they take a look at players who their organizations will be competing against later in the season when the games count. But Pete Alonso, man, he's about as advertised, and not just with the on-field production, which is obviously what we're discussing here in terms of projected WAR, but man, he's everything as advertised as what you expected in this clubhouse. Coming here as a leader. I know we've got some things cooking up on the Pete Alonso front, but I'm just honestly thrilled with what he's brought to this team. Just a couple days ago, we saw in that game against Team Netherlands that you just referenced after that rough go there for Trevor Rogers. Pete Alonso calls his own mound visit.
Yeah.
And you really don't see that from position players, let alone a first baseman. Usually, if there's a defensive alignment going on, that's called by the shortstop or, almost primarily between catcher and pitcher. But Pete Alonso really taking on this leadership role. You can check out a column on the Baltimore Sun, but the pop is real, and I think we're going to see a 40-plus home run season from Pete.
I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I'm already regretting giving you the Gunnar Alonso sack. I mean, these are clearly the 2 best position players on the team right now, and could together combine for 12, 13, 14 WAR just between the 2 of them. So certainly putting you in a solid position to start there. But I do feel good about my Bradish pick, and that also brings me back around to be able to take Adley Rutschman.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say Rogers.
No. I feel really good about Adley, particularly with Fangraph's WAR, which we're using, because that Fangraph's WAR takes into account framing, and Adley Rutschman took a huge step forward defensively last year, his framing in particular, a big part of that. So as that gets calculated into WAR, even if he doesn't return to the heights of Adley Rutschman of old at the plate, but is merely just average or slightly above average, I do think that he is still capable of putting together a high WAR season as long as he's able to stay healthy, which obviously wasn't able to do last year. So Rutschman, 2nd round pick.
I'm really hoping you don't put me in a bind here with leaving Sammy Basayo on the board. Whew, man, I think I got to go with Trevor Rogers. My pick for opening day. My pick for opening day starter last season. I think it's more than a flash in the pan, and we asked Tony Manzolino about that when he was still in charge, and he pointed at reasons why that Trevor Rogers, what the work that he put in behind the scenes, and our colleague Jacob Calvin Meyer has done some great reporting on exactly what Rogers has done with his body to be able to handle a larger workload, and what he's hopefully going into a big year for him. And he's due for a contract at the end of the season. We'll see if the Orioles and him want to engage in those discussions if things go well for him in the early parts of the season. But coming off one of the most dominant stretches that you'll see from any pitcher, not just in franchise history, but in baseball, over 100-plus innings of just dominant form last season. Got lit up by Team Netherlands, wasn't helped much by the fielding that was in place, but Stuff-wise, he said he felt great, and if this is the worst that he's going to look, he told us after the game, then he'll take that, and he does feel quite strong heading into this season, and my predicted opening day starter.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would take Basayo there to give me Rogers on the wraparound. I like the pick.
Here.
I mean, spoiler alert, I'm going Basayo.
Oh.
I mean, I've got to. One, because
I think I know my pick after
that's gonna fill my DH spot, but also put you in a bind for having to take your catcher later on. Basayo, first full season this year, heading into it, and is expected. The projections on him are actually pretty bullish. I mean, 25 homer season is what Zips from Fangraphs is looking at. So if he's able to put together a season like that, even if he's only catching in a part-time role and playing a lot of DH, I do think that he's going to put up a pretty high WAR total and be, what we would expect for a top 10 prospect who is still only 21 years old, but showing some signs of success at the major league level.
All right, so I'm not sure how you're going to want to log this position-wise, but I think I'm in a bind here, and I have to take Taylor Ward. Who has arrived to baseball as a catching prospect, and if
we're not putting him a catcher, no, you got to take him.
If they're in a bind, I mean, I'm in a bind. He's got positional versatility.
Ooh, I don't know. Putting him at catcher, I'm gonna say no. I mean, if he plays more than 9 innings at catcher this year, that's going to be shocking.
And we're going to revisit this later in the year.
Yeah, 100%. We'll be checking in as my team's cooking throughout the year.
Well, as we saw last year, it was basically a revolving door at that position. So, all right, Taylor Ward, if you're going to put him in a corner outfield, I'll still take him. He arrives as, similar in that Pete Alonso realm of just really trying to give this team more pop. Mm-hmm. And another guy, not much team control in terms of his future in Baltimore, but if he can maximize it this season, then it helps both parties. And thus far, just like Pete Alonso, it looks like he just arrives to the scene, arrives to spring training with the pop on display. And sometimes it can take hitters a bit more time in terms of getting their timing down. But Taylor Ward, he's been seeing the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I got to like your squad so far. Gunnar, Pete, Trevor Rogers, Taylor Ward to start. We're
talking the long ball.
That's a sexy group right there. Not going to lie. You've got some high floors for a lot of those guys, so you have to feel pretty good about that. I'm taking a bit more of a risky approach so far with Bradish and Basayo and Rushman, really. All high ceiling, high floor guys. And I'm going to keep with that theme. And I'm taking Shane Baz.
Oh, that's a good one.
I know.
Man.
I had a feeling you were going to probably take him on the next go around here. So I have really liked what we've seen from Baz so far this spring. High velo. His stuff has looked absolutely nasty, and I really do think that move over from Steinbrenner Field to Camden Yards is going to do wonders for him. And also, we saw what this pitching staff did, or this coaching staff did, with Trevor Rogers last year. We saw what it did with Albert Suarez the year before. This is a group that has gotten the most out of guys who maybe weren't able to figure out other places, and Baz just might be the next piece, and honestly, he might have higher potential than anybody that had come through so far.
Man, we've discussed, and our listeners and viewers know how up there I am on Baz, and man, that velo is real. And you and I were just watching him before his start against the Astros. So this was on Tuesday early in the week, the day before his start. So he's warming up leading into it. And they're tossing on flat ground, but man, the velo, you can just hear it, you can see it.
Glove pops are crazy.
Yes,
yeah.
And there was a portion where his catching partner actually didn't catch the ball, and thank God for that fence.
Yeah,
that's
we
in
might
between.
have taken a few to the face.
Yeah, exactly. So again, one of the guys that I've been excited to watch. Got to watch his start yesterday against the Astros, and man, that velo is definitely showing up here early on. That's a great pick.
Feel good about it.
I think to build off that, we're just going to keep going down the rotation. Give me Eflin. He's a player certainly with a lot to prove, and I think to this fan base in particular, he arrived as when you're getting Cy Young votes and you had the season that he had a couple seasons ago, and you get traded to another franchise and it just goes so poorly, I think that he is determined to show the dedicated group across Birdland that this is not a true sample size of what of who he truly is. And probably most importantly for him in terms of health, he might be a little delayed in terms of the rest of the group, as he actually will make his first start today at Port Charlotte against some familiar faces over there from the Rays. But you look at the financial commitment, so there has to be belief amongst the most advanced thinking people within the front office who are signing the checks that Zach Eflin can hit his ceiling. So I think he might be a sneaky WAR provider here, and he's Fangraphs projects him at 1.5. Maybe he's closer to a 2.0 for me.
I like it. I think he was the natural pick too. Interesting how the rotation has gotten so much scrutiny leading up to now, and here we are halfway through round 5, and we've already got 4 starting pitchers off the board. I think that shows you the upside of this group for sure. Man, I'm going back and forth on what I want to do with this pick. I've got 2 guys on my brain, and I think I need to go position player. I'm going to be taking Jordan Westburg at third base. Now, obviously, set to begin the year on the IL, elbow injury. We're not sure exactly how many games he's going to miss to start the year, but Orioles seem optimistic that it'll only be a month or so. And when at his best, when he's healthy, Jordan Westburg is one of the best players on this team, plays a good defensive third base and second base, and also really produces. Particularly, I do think that he has the 30 homer over a full course of the season type power in him. So I think that if he's able to kind of hit the ground running, finally fully healthy when he comes back, even if it's not a full season, I still think he's going to put together a pretty good WAR total.
He's chomping at the bit too. Just yesterday in clubhouse, he's playing around with his glove, making sure it's in pristine condition for when he is able to throw again. And I'm jumping right into my next pick. It's going to be his rehab mate, Jackson Holliday.
All right.
I think obviously only 22 years old, still just a ton of potential for a former top overall pick. And man, once he is healthy, and I know his injury is a one that includes a lot of clouds or question marks in terms of the strength and return to power. But on the news front, pretty good news for him that he plans to participate and get back in the box, take some swings with both hands. Since suffering his broken hamate bone in the right hand, he's only been swinging and going through the motions with his left. But as you and I have seen him on the backfields, he has been throwing. Just yesterday with infield coach Miguel Cairo, he handled like over a dozen ground balls practicing on his transfer. And pretty soon he just told reporters just yesterday that he's going to be back in the box taking swings again with both hands. So hoping that power returns for the sake of the Orioles' sake, and also for Team Josh here as we continue to fill out this lineup there with, pretty good infield. Jackson Holliday and Gunnar.
And Pete Alonso at first base. You got to be feeling pretty good about that group. Reason I took Westburg over Holliday is just I'm slightly worried about the hamate bone and what that's going to mean for his power coming back. 17 home runs last year definitely was a big part of what his value was, and the Orioles are hopeful that he's going to be able to take a step forward, particularly from an on-base standpoint. They're hopeful he can be a leadoff type hitter for them down the line. He got that role at the end of last year, but the OBP wasn't super great really. And then in the second half, he tried to draw more walks, but that came at the expense of his power. So he's still figuring out his way. And I think now, as important as the season was and how much I still believe in the talent of Jackson Holliday, I do wonder about what that hamate bone is going to do for his power.
You know what the hamate bone won't affect, though?
Stolen bases?
His speed.
Yep. He's
47 between those two, Gunnar and Jackson last year. And you know what? My first baseman, he's got some wheels.
Stole a base yesterday,
yeah,
right?
You saw the polar bear. I think he has 18 career stolen bases, just one last year in New York. First pitch, he went.
Hey man,
if that throw was a little bit better, I'm a little bit more skeptical if he would have made it. But we got some speed in the infield.
If Josh Naylor can steal 30 bases, I think Pete Alonso could put up a few. So we'll see. I'm not counting on it. All right, so coming back to me, I'm going back into the rotation, and I'm going to take Chris Bassett. I've got a lot of risk-reward plays here, and I feel like I need a safe floor, and Bassett is exactly that. He's not somebody that I'm expecting to be in the Cy Young discussion by any means, and at 37 years old, you wonder what the upside is, but he has been able to post which has been a problem for this rotation, just health in general. But also somebody who, is still coming off of a pretty strong year with the Toronto Blue Jays. Wasn't a huge part of their pitching staff in the playoffs, but was still throughout the year somebody that they relied on every 5 days, and I think the Orioles are going to do the same thing. So feel pretty good there, adding Bassett as my number 3 starter.
Man, I am not going to go to another starter in Dean Kramer. No, let's. I'm going to throw like a little curveball at you. Let's go with the first reliever off the board. Closer, Ryan Helsley.
There you go.
The most expensive piece in the bullpen. Another player, another pitcher with plenty to prove, to show that his time last year in New York is not a true example of himself. And we've seen him have some dominant stretches, primarily with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's hoping to bring some of that magic here in Baltimore. Coming off a good outing, too, so I'm feeling pretty good about this pick. I believe he had a couple strikeouts against Houston and over one inning of work. So let's go with Ryan Helsley. And hopefully he's giving me, again, closer to a 2 WAR. Fangraphs got him at 1.1 projected.
Yeah, certainly 2 is within range for Helsley. I like the pick, especially because the rest of the bullpen isn't going to offer that kind of upside. Yeah, so looking at that group, being able to take a reliever who you can kind of bank on to give you 1 to 2 WAR, as opposed to other guys who the 4 could fall out quickly for some of these guys. I like the pick. I think it's a smart one. And I was definitely considering it my next one. But it does leave me with a guy that I have been high on all spring, despite the fact that many in the Orioles fan base are not. But Tyler O'Neill, my first outfielder.
What round are we in?
We are in round 7 now.
That's some value right there.
I feel pretty good about that. I was actually thinking about him 2 rounds ago. Went with Westberg. But when you took Holiday, I was like, okay, because I figured you were going to go Bassett. That left me with being able to leave him for 1 more round. So Tyler O'Neill, look, we all know what happened last year. Injuries were terrible. The numbers weren't there even when he was on the field. But I'm telling you, he's looked great this spring. He's come in looking leaner. He is looking fast. I mean, this is a guy who won a Gold Glove. This is not a player who, is a Giancarlo Stanton out there. He can move well when his body is maybe in the correct proportions for it. And I think we're seeing that now. He's hitting the ball incredibly hard. He did, even when he was hurt last year, hitting the ball hard. The expected numbers were a lot better than his maybe regular stats indicated. So I feel really good about an O'Neill bounce back. And honestly, even if he only plays 120 games, that could still be a 30-homer season. So I like my chances of him contributing more than this 7th round value.
Man, I'm a bit bummed that I'm not going to be able to really see him much as he plays for Team Canada and the World Baseball Classic. He was definitely on my list of guys to watch out for, and now I'll have to watch out for him on Team Matt throughout our exercise this season. What are
let's go through the rosters here so far. So Josh, you were looking at Gunnar, Pete Alonso, Trevor Rogers in the rotation, Taylor Ward
at catcher.
I'm not letting you get by with that. I can't. Eflin, starting pitcher as well, Holiday at second, and Helsley as your closer. So you still need 3 more starters. You need 3 more relievers. You don't have a third baseman, a center fielder, or a other corner outfielder or a DH.
Man, all right. I'm going to go right here with someone who could end up being a valuable asset, certainly early on. And who knows how long injuries linger if others pop up throughout the year.
You're taking who I want, I know.
I'm going with the guy with the best name on the team. Let's go to Blaze Alexander.
Yeah, that was my next pick.
The acquisition from the Diamondbacks. Man, we discussed it in previous episodes about Mike Elias and his ability to snag him in that trade at the beginning of spring. I mean, all power to him if he really did acquire him before all these injuries happened, because his name is going to be called on early on, and the tons of experience. I was chatting with him just yesterday, and he's hinted that he's got some time coming up here in the corner outfield. So if you're not giving me Taylor Ward at catcher, give me this utility guy who can play both infield and outfield.
You can put him wherever you want to put him. A plus defender at 4 different positions last year, and certainly somebody who is going to be used in that way. You have the third base spot open right now. You have center field and corner, so you can kind of wait and see how your roster shakes out and maybe insert him which is annoying because that's exactly what I was hoping to do. Because I don't have a shortstop, and after Gunnar, it's a whole lot of options at that spot. So don't love my position there. 1 inning in the spring. Yeah, we'll see about that. Looking at this group, I'm also going to take my first. I'm going starter. I'm taking Dean Kramer. I think he's hung out around a little too long here. We are now down all the way to the 8th round. Kramer, 170 innings last year, has been relatively durable for the Orioles the past few years. They obviously have 6
Their
starters.
innings leader last year.
Yeah, I mean, they have 6 starters right now. Who knows how it's all going to shake out? But I do think that Kramer is kind of that last starter here, tier break, if you will, with this group where after that the options become a little bit more creative. So I'm going to take Kramer as my SP4. You are still only at 2 starting pitchers for your rotation. So my pitching staff is looking pretty nice.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got you in the infield, but I mean, just a quick note on Kramer. He certainly seems the most built up out of all these starters as he goes on to join Team Israel in the WBC. Man. Where are my holes in the field?
Well, you've got Blaze, who you can fit wherever, but you could still use an outfielder. You could use a DH you don't have. And like I said, you've still got only 2 starters, 1 reliever.
All right, let me go with the featured center fielder. Another guy with a great. I'm coming up with the all-time team as well. Give me Colton Cowser.
Yeah. Really low pick for Cowser too.
Yeah, and like with Cowser, I feel like the floor is. I mean, at what he is, 26 years old. Another former top pick. I feel that floor could rise this year as he's really featured at that position. And I found it really interesting when Adam Jones spoke about Cowser, and is he primed to become this household name across Birdland? And I essentially viewed it as a challenge from Adam Jones that he has to really go up and take the reins. So Colton Cowser, don't disappoint me. You're certainly going to get the time there, and maybe you'll give me some WAR as well.
Yep. I mean, center field, if he can really settle into that position defensively, that'll be huge for his WAR total there. Obviously, the bat has to come around after the year that he had, which was obviously injury plagued. But a strikeout rate over 30% is not going to help you stay in the lineup on a day-to-day basis, and that is the concern with Cowser. Is if he doesn't figure it out the first couple of months, he might not be playing center field by mid-July. So we'll see kind of how this season progresses for him. I'm going to stay in the outfield, and a guy that I really like to see a good amount of playing time, despite not maybe having a set position to start the year, is Dylan Beavers.
Oh, the other great name.
Yeah, I know. A lot of great names on this team in general. He actually has been playing in all 3 outfield positions, including center field, so he might be a backup option there behind Cowser. Also hits left-handed, so it's not like they're going to platoon or anything. I will say he'll probably give Tyler O'Neill some days off, so I kind of have right field covered between the 2 of them. But I'm going to say right now I'm going to put him in my left field spot.
I know the season was pretty much over in August and September last year, but if you had to pick a couple memorable performances or just moments or stretches, obviously Trevor Rogers is up there. Mm-hmm. Kobe Mayo finished the year out strong. And man, Dylan Beavers, once he got up, man, it's like the discipline at the plate was just automatic for that rookie. So I feel like there's a high ceiling there.
The lights were not too bright. Like he just seemed so calm.
Had a walk-off as well.
Yeah, a couple of big moments, big home runs too. So I feel pretty good about that pick. What are you doing now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Round 10, we are now in double digits.
What if you settle your accident case too soon, only to realize you left thousands, even millions on the table? At Rice Law, we fight for every dollar you deserve. Don't settle for less. Get the right lawyer right now.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
If you would like what you're hearing on Early Birds podcast, you should definitely sign up for the Baltimore Sun's free sports newsletter sent right to your email. We are in the locker room, the clubhouse, at practice, and at every single game, talking to our sources and observing all of this information that we put into Baltimore Sun's weekly Orioles Insider and Ravens Insider newsletters. Sign up for free at baltimoresun.com/newsletters.
Man, let's go with. Do I have a hole in the infield, or
Your infield, you don't have a catcher still, and you don't have a DH.
we can ignore the catcher
I have
part?
Blaze kind of at third right now.
All right, then let's go. I'll address the DH and also someone who basically, like, I had, myself and you and Jacob had discussed about the questions we had about this guy's future at the outset of spring. Quickly resolved itself with the injury situation. He could have been your shortstop. I'm going with Kobe Mayo, man.
Mayo.
Yep, I'll get third base, first base value out of there, and let's slot him there in the DH
spot.
Yep.
Okay. Mayo in at DH. I like it. I think he'll obviously get a chance to start the year, get some valuable playing time to show that his September was for real, which obviously we weren't expecting to be able to see. So as long as, and it kind of works out for you, the longer that Jordan Westberg is out, the longer that Kobe Mayo is going to be playing. So that puts you in a good position there, depending on what that injury rehab looks like. And maybe Mayo hits well enough to force his way into the lineup even when Westberg's back. So we'll see what that looks like. I now don't want to be left hanging without a first baseman because there's only really one left to take. So I'm going to go Ryan Mountcastle, who similarly to Mayo was in an awkward spot after the Orioles went out and signed Pete Alonso. But now with the injuries, as we mentioned, I do think that he is going to play, particularly against lefties a lot, but be able to spell Mountcastle at first, or Pete Alonso at first base. I think we'll get some DH starts as well. Maybe for me.
I don't know. I got a 162 game starter back-to-back years there.
Yeah, no, I mean, will Pete Alonso play every day? Yes, but could, when Mountcastle's in the lineup, he play first base and Alonso DH as a way to kind of give him off days? I mean, this is a guy they give $155 million in the next 5 years. They want to keep him healthy. Maybe it is prudent to get him off his feet a little bit and put him in that DH spot. And plus, Mountcastle is a better defender at first base by a wide margin, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Mountcastle as my first baseman.
So how many starters I have? I have Rogers.
You have two. Rogers and Eflin.
Oh, man.
We've kind of got the top six guys here, so
this is about to get interesting. Man, this is about to get interesting because the bullpen has so many questions.
I know.
And you know what? I was high on him the last time that you and I got together, and I know there is news on his injury front that he has a low probability to make opening day, but he was a guy that I mentioned who could, sneak into that closer role, if need be. I'm going with Andrew Kittredge. I believe he turns. He's in his mid-30s. His birthday is coming up here in a couple weeks. I know he's getting up there, and the recovery might take a little bit longer, but that's exactly why the Orioles are slow playing this right shoulder inflammation that he is battling. And if we're talking high leverage relievers, I'm taking the two guys with the most experience there. So I put you in a bind.
Your bullpen is already looking leagues better, considering I have no relievers.
And also Andrew Kittredge, plenty of experience as an opener. So I don't know if we're playing that hypothetical.
Still counts toward the WAR total. But I like that pick. I was thinking about it because I don't have Ryan Helsley. Do I roll the dice again on a guy who's going to be injured to start the year? But I actually am going to stay in the bullpen, and a guy who I see pitching both maybe in high leverage and in a multi-inning role, and that is Tyler Wells, who I think has looked really good this spring. Orioles are planning to use him out of the bullpen, as it looks like their rotation is pretty full. Not going to be room for him in there. Maybe he gets stretched back out as a starter later, and that could kind of help boost the total as well. But I do think that with how wide open this bullpen is, I could see Tyler Wells. I mean, especially with Andrew Kittredge, if he's hurt to start the year, I mean, he could be the eighth inning guy.
I don't regret the Kittredge pick, but looking back, that was probably a smart move.
I feel pretty good about that with the range of outcomes for him. Wells, people forget 2023 first half led the American League in WHIP. I mean, he's been pretty good when healthy. That's been the question. Now pitching out of the bullpen, limiting his innings, maybe that helps him stay on the field. I like it.
Oh man. Man, by the way, today in live BP and on the backfields, Wells struck out your guy, Dylan Beavers.
Man, that's
looking good.
Teammate on teammate crime for Team Matt. Don't love that.
Oh man!
All right, let's run through the team real quick before you make your next pick. You have got starting at shortstop Gunnar, Pete Alonso at first base, Trevor Rogers is the starter, Taylor Ward in left field, Zach Eflin starting pitcher. Jackson Holliday, second base, Ryan Helsley as your closer, Blaze Alexander in a position TBD, Colton Cowser in center field, Mayo is DHing, and Andrew Kittredge as your second reliever. So as we've said, Blaze Alexander can move around. So you, on the hitting front, still have a either third base or a corner outfield spot open. And in the rotation, you still need 3 more starters, and the bullpen 2 more relievers.
Man, do I go with a Trey Gibson? Do I go... You know what? I'm going to go with... Oh, there are two guys with like uncertain immediate futures. Both pitchers, but very different roles. And I'm stuck because I feel like you and I have been having conversations about one of them, and I feel like if I don't take him, you might.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think for sake of needing a starter and an innings eater, I think I got to go with Cade Povich.
Cade Povich, yeah, needed a starter.
Definitely has the arm length in terms of being able to fill out those innings for me. Not sure if he's going to be in a position to do that with the esteemed rotation that we discussed earlier in the show. But I think I think I'm forced into a position where I'm taking Cade.
Yeah, I don't blame you. With only 2 starters so far, need to start plucking off some guys, and he's somebody I think we'll definitely be seeing in the major leagues this year. What that looks like, we'll see, but I would imagine he's going to be stretched out as a starter to operate his depth in AAA. So would not be surprised if we see some Cade Povich this year. And we have seen some flashes of moments from him. He's had a couple of 10 strikeout
couple quality
games.
Starts.
Yeah, I mean,
couple stretches. 4 no-hit innings.
It's really about facing lineup third time through has been a big hurdle for him, getting through that 5th into the 6th inning. So if he's able to keep his deep repertoire, just keep building on it. He's adding another pitch this offseason after working on the kick change last year. He's going for like a gyro slider this year. So what the Cade Povich experience is going to be in 2026 is still kind of anyone's guess. So, was one of their top pitching prospects just a year ago. We'll see. But I like that pick for you. I think now for me to go run through my team here, I went Bradish number 1, Adley Rutschman at catcher number 2, Samuel Basayo is my DH, Shane Baz, Jordan Westberg at third, Chris Bassett, Tyler O'Neill right field, Dean Kramer as my number 4 starter. I have Beavers in left. I have Mountcastle at first base with Tyler Wells as my first reliever off the board. And looking at this team, I'm feeling pretty good about that rotation. I've got my 4 starters, only need 1 more, so don't think I need to force it there yet. I have the third or shortstop open right now, as well as center field. So I'm thinking for my shortstop, and you can check me on this. Tell me if I can, but I'm thinking Jeremiah Jackson.
We saw him at short the other day.
We did see him at short the other day. I wouldn't say he looked super great, but he is a natural shortstop. That actually is the position he's played the most in the minor leagues. Where he plays on this Orioles roster, kind of TBD this year, but I think he's going to get a chance to show that his success down the stretch was no fluke, and play kind of all over the diamond, whether that be the outfield, whether that be third base, second base. Certainly is going to have to compete with a few guys like Kobe Mayo and Blaze Alexander for playing time, particularly once Jackson Holliday and Jordan Westberg come back. But I do think that we're going to see some Jeremiah Jackson this year. So cheating a little bit, but I think I'm going to put him at shortstop.
I don't think that's necessarily cheating, especially given the time that he's logged there. Not coming off the greatest showing in his most recent start there. But
no, defense is the question for him. I think I feel good about the bat.
He did have a home run that game, though.
Yes, he did. And he can barrel up a baseball, man. That guy, talking to some people who have known him for his whole life, like natural gifted athlete, like people knew he was going to MLB at like 6 years old. So a lot of natural gifts there that he has to work with. And somebody who was a top prospect going into the draft when he was drafted out of high school from Alabama. And actually played with Gunnar Henderson on an all-state team. They batted back-to-back when they were in high school. So,
wow.
Yeah, a little nugget for y'all there. He's my shortstop. Where you going?
Right. I'm buying high on what he has looked like this spring, and he was someone I thought that you might have snagged with this last pick, but give me a lefty. Out of the pen, Grant Wolfram.
Grant Wolfram,
Yeah.
a high pick for Grant Wolfram. I love it. Not even a sure to roster spot to start the year.
You know what?
You're snagging your guy.
He is making the roster. I'm calling it right now. Given the state of the pen, we just got another injury in the form of Andrew Kittredge. I think that opens up a possible spot for Wolfram, who again brings that brings that upside as a lefty. And I had a conversation with him just yesterday in the clubhouse, and he said these past couple years he's always attacked his off seasons with a strong mentality, he feels like, but specifically the last 2 years, and we've seen him take some strides into this spring. I mean, he's been shoving. He said he's been learning his body more and understanding its limitations, and by understanding that, he's able to further adjust in terms of how he's coming off the mound and his approach to the plate. So liking the adjustments, and certainly liking what he has provided this spring, which is he's kind of I don't want to say it's a sure fire thing, but certainly proving that he deserves a spot on this big league roster.
I can't
buying high.
I can't deny the upside. I mean, he has looked great in spring, high velo, great extension as well. So the fastball
Super
looks
tall.
like it's just riding up on you immediately out of his hand. So
Those tall lefties, I got Rogers.
yeah, if you're going to be a sucker for tall lefties, I don't blame you. That's not a bad place to go. But I'm going to stay in the bullpen as well. And I'm kind of surprised he hasn't gone earlier, but Yennier Cano, a guy who is obviously not coming off of the best of years, but has also looked pretty good in spring so far, and somebody who Craig Albernaz is very high on in being a big part of this bullpen picture. As we've talked about, a lot of open roles there in the back end, and he's somebody who has done it before. So I could see him very much being a late inning guy, whether that is in his kind of typical fireman role or if he can really be a true setup man. If he's able to get lefties out, that is really the big question for him, is how he matches up against left-handers. So for my second reliever, I'm going Yennier Cano.
And what round did we just complete?
That is a good question.
Because I'll tell you,
3.
scanning through Fangraph's projected WAR, Cano, man, actually the second highest projected WAR behind Helsley. So that is a deep value pick for you.
I feel pretty good about that. That's around 13, so a savvy pick on my part, I must say.
Man, I feel like I'm still lacking arms, right? In terms
Yeah,
of...
you could use some starting pitching, that's for sure.
You
got 3 starters right now.
They're all gone, so I'm basically buying on upside that hopefully that their time in Norfolk is quick, and there's a situation that brings them up here to Baltimore. Oh, man, I mean it's probably a default pick at this point. Like, give me Trey Gibson.
Trey Gibson, yeah. I thought about him for my last pick to kind of round out the rotation, but I felt like Cano might be your next pick, and I didn't want to really feel left out with only Tyler Wells in my bullpen, so I like it. Obviously, top 100 prospect Trey Gibson, somebody who really had a meteoric rise through the system last year. A lot of strikeouts, which you love to see. Not very many innings in AAA so far, so pretty much a lock to start the year in the rotation there. But they got a lot of interesting arms in AAA, so that rotation at Norfolk is going to be fun to watch.
I might have to make a couple trips over there in Bowie as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, the top half of this farm system has a lot of interesting guys. So last year, it kind of felt like it really thinned out there, where it wasn't even worth making some trips to minor league parks. But this year, certainly will be on my radar, so we'll see. I like the Trey Gibson pick, and I am actually going to round out my outfield. Now, I had listed Dylan Beavers at left field. I'm going to shift him over to center, okay? And now I'm taking Heston Kjerstad.
Man, I can't believe
left fielder.
I just glanced at my laptop and I couldn't believe he was still on the board.
Kjerstad still hanging around.
Another top pick.
I really thought about him the last 2 rounds, and just kept pushing him down, but because I felt like you really needed to round out your pitching staff. That was a good gamble by me. You took 4 straight pitchers there. So I'm going with Kjerstad, who
has the beauty of the draft. You force each other into these tough spots.
Play off each other. So I feel good about what Kjerstad has done this spring. He might not break camp with the team to begin the year, but I do think that Kjerstad is somebody who really has looked good. He dropped the leg kick, as we've talked about a lot on the show. Raw power is still there. What he looks like now that he's fully healthy, he's going to have to earn his way back to an opportunity, but I like that as a kind of a big swing here, round 14.
Okay, the relievers on my end: Helsley, Wolfram, Kittredge.
You got 3 reliever spots filled, so 1 left there. You have 4 starters. You have 4 starters, so you have 1 more starter spot, and you still have either third base or quarter outfield.
You know, I hope this one doesn't come back to bite me, because his spring on the opposite end of Wolfram has not been as hot. Although he did get out of a little jam against the Astros on Wednesday at Ed Smith Stadium. Give me Dietrich Enns, another lefty. I mean, he's going to be you're going to be forced to. I mean, there's again a lot of questions about this bullpen. Again, he has not come out spring guns a blazing, but definitely earned himself a little bit of money in terms of relative to what he's made throughout his career. Put himself in that position to capitalize, and again, a lefty approaching 35 years old, but. We saw him get out of some tough situations last year, and hopefully this start of spring is not a show of decline, but rather just an adjustment as he prepares for this 2026 season again, with a lot of spots open there on the back end of the bullpen.
Yeah, I think Enns looked really good towards the end of last season.
And what a journeyman! I mean, I know we've Jacob has written about. Dietrich, but for him to play at the spots that he has in terms of all these different leagues and places across the country, for him to relative to his career make some decent money here with the Orioles. You root for guys like that, for stories like that, and hopefully he can provide some decent value as a late round pick.
Absolutely, and that closes out your bullpen. So you are now locked in with your 4 relievers. You have Ryan Helsley, Andrew Kittredge, Grant Wolfram, and Dietrich Enns. Pretty solid group. You feel good about that bullpen?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I know we're playing the hypothetical of current injury situation, but Felix Bautista said he hopes to play at some point this season. We'll see. I mean, that's a ways away, but no, in all seriousness, in terms of this exercise, I'm feeling pretty confident there. I'm still kind of butthurt about the catcher situation and the rules of whether or not we can slide players behind the dish. But I'm liking my team so far.
I think the guy's got to have played the position in the last 5 years to count. That's my personal
in an
thing.
Actual game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taylor Ward. Yes, he was a catcher prospect, but it has been quite a while since he put on the catcher gear. In an actual game. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see him in a game this year as like the emergency third catcher, especially if they're not carrying a third catcher.
Hopefully it's 9 innings, because then that will reach our threshold.
That's right. Then maybe we'll move some guys around. But I am looking at my group, and I have Jeremiah Jackson at my shortstop spot, and I am thinking I still have second base open, which we are deep in here for me to still have second base available. And my 2 options kind of are Luis Vasquez, putting him at shortstop and moving Jeremiah over. But I think I'm actually going to go a little bit off the wall here and take Weston Wilson.
Whoa.
Wilson, I think, has been a standout in camp so far. A lot of good
Albie's pretty high
barrels.
on him.
Craig Albin, as I said, some glowing reviews of him so far. He intends to play him at both third base, second base, and the outfield as well. So maybe some competition there for a guy like Jeremiah Jackson to make this team, but also somebody who has major league experience and played with the Phillies last year. Really, I think is somebody who's being slept on for that last bench spot right now. So I'm going to go Weston Wilson to round out my infield, and I'm putting him at second base.
And we're currently now on the last round, correct?
No, we have 3 more picks.
Oh, 3 rounds.
3 more.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
we have through round 15, 18 total rounds.
For the audio listeners, Matt is the one. He's the master of penning together.
Yeah, it's got the
this
whole
beautiful lineup.
Running list now. And you are, with 3 picks left to go, you still need either a third baseman or an outfielder. And you also need, you have 1 more starter, and maybe it is only, I thought it was 18, because we went 5 starters, 4 relievers, that's 9, plus 9 position players, so that's 18. So it should be 18 guys. You have a first baseman, shortstop, second baseman. You need a third baseman. You have your center fielder and a corner outfielder. You have your DH. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 starters. So it's, 1 starter and 1 position player, but that only adds up My math ain't mathin', but we'll go through it. What's your next pick?
Man, I'm thinking this might come back to bite me. Especially...
catcher. You need a catcher.
No, wait.
You don't have a catcher. What am I saying?
Oh, man.
But you can afford to wait till your last pick with that because I've already filled up my catcher spot. So.
Yeah, I mean, even with this pick, it's... I have a bench spot in the outfield, correct?
You can do either outfield or third base.
You know what? I might have to go with an NRI guy who looked pretty good in his last time out, and now he's in WBC play. Give me the speedy Enrique Bradfield Jr.
Wow. I like that pick, honestly. And with what we've seen from Bradfield so far, if he can just get an OBP around 340, 350, I mean, this guy could be the leadoff player for this team for the next 5 to 10 years. So I like the pick. Fantastic defense. It's going to be high floor for the WAR there. And maybe we see him by the All-Star break. I don't know. I like it, though. Are you going to put him in right field and Cowser in center, or do you want him Bradfield center?
I'll keep him in the corner, and I'll keep Cowser where he's expected to be featured in center.
Okay. Right field, Bradfield. Nice. All right. I still need one more starter. I've gone a long time without taking a starting pitcher. My rotation has Bradish, Boz, Chris Bassett, and Dean Kramer. Feeling great about that. And I'm also going to take a little bit of off-the-wall pick. I'm going to go Luis De Leon, who has been on a couple of top 100 lists coming into this year. A guy who really impressed, again, last year. Bit of a fast riser through their system last season. Pitched in the Arizona Fall League as well. Had some great returns there. So while Trey Gibson is probably the #1 pitching prospect in this organization, I do think that Luis De Leon is right there as well. And honestly, between the two of them, whoever has the better year might be the first call-up when the Orioles need a starting pitcher this year. So would not be surprised when we see a few Luis De Leon starts.
I like the pick. I mean, in these late rounds, we have to be kind of wacky. And so my hole now is
You have catcher, and you need a starting pitcher.
Oh, man.
That's part of the reason I took De Leon.
Oh, man.
I mean, you got one guy on the 40-man in expected to start in AAA, and Brandon Young. He had almost threw a perfect game last year, showed some upside. Was their minor league pitcher of the year in 2024. Not great overall numbers at the major league level.
That was against Houston, right?
That was against Houston, Yep. I remember I was in Chicago. I was off. Running around the streets of Chicago with some friends, and I get an alert that it's the 7th inning, and Brandon Young is throwing a perfect game. I'm like, guys, I think I need to put this game on my phone.
And I think you and I both covered his next start in Camden Yards.
Yes.
Not as memorable.
Not as memorable.
Man, I'm looking at two innings eaters here. But you know what? For the sake of recency, and while we're discussing this, especially since we just recalled our memories of those back-to-back starts for the guy. Let's go Brandon Young.
Brandon Young.
You
I think it's the right pick. I mean, you could go a guy like Levi Wells, who's expected to start the year in AAA as well, but maybe more of an unfinished product as far as being a prospect goes. They might want to give him the full year at AAA. So Young feels like he would be higher on the pecking order for calling up for a few starts.
And I think my next pick is obvious, but I'll let you go with yours before we reach that point.
6, 7. Yeah, you'll be on to your last pick there. I am going to go over to the bullpen because I only have 2 relievers. So I'm going 2 relievers here to close things out. And I'm going to take Keegan Aiken for my first reliever spot here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to take Keegan Aiken. I've been thinking about it, and, Aiken had a solid year last year, but I wonder about his ability to pitch late in games. He's platoon neutral. He's not exactly a lefty specialist, so how exactly they decide to use Aiken remains to be seen. But I'm actually going to go Rico Garcia, who's a guy that both of us have.
I'm high on Rico.
Yeah,
he didn't make the cut for the pen, but for my pen, but. I
needed to get a share in there on sharing the success of Rico Garcia, a guy who looked great at the end of last year. And with the Mets, they introduced a new gyro slider to him. during his time in New York, and they ended up releasing him when he brings that gyro slider to Baltimore, and it starts to have success with it at the major league level. They bring him back on a new deal for 2026. I think he is kind of locked up a bullpen spot now with the uncertainty of those last 2 spots, and I'm going to go with Rico Garcia and take the upside play.
Oh man, all right. So you get my guy Rico, and I think I'm forced here between 2 guys who may or may not ever see the field. But I think for recency sake, the fact that he did see some time at the level at this level last year at that revolving door. Man, I mean, he's handling quite a staff and, quite a, between my bullpen and starters. But let's go with Maverick Hanley. Last season logged 16 games, appearances for the Orioles, only 3 hits. So
the offense was not really there, but he did look pretty good behind the plate. I think he's a good defensive catcher. Guys in camp love throwing to him, a great framer. Obviously, it's going to take some injuries for him to see a lot of time on the field. Sam Huff is also in that conversation as well. They also have Creed Willems, who plays catcher and first base, as somebody who could see some time in the major leagues if they need to go into that depth. So
at Norfolk, he almost hit 260. So
yeah, I mean, he was a top 30 prospect for a little bit there in their system. I don't hate it. I mean, I put you in a bind taking both catchers, so it was probably going to come down to
not just both catchers, but both catchers with offensive upside.
Exactly. I mean, hey, I had to get my DH spot figured out quickly.
I'll take my infield.
So yeah, your infield is looking pretty nasty. And I'm going to take for the final pick of our draft, round 18, final pick. I am going to go Albert Suarez, another guy who could be in a bit
contemplating the last pick.
Yeah, a bit of a swingman role. Maybe we see him in the rotation. Maybe we see him out of the bullpen. Another guy who probably has an inside track now for a bullpen spot with the state of the relief corps and all the injuries. Suarez is in camp as an NRI, so he has to earn his way onto the roster. But I do think that Albert Suarez is somebody who, just back in 2024, we saw behind Corbin Burns, second most innings pitched for the 2024 Orioles.
I'm liking that.
If you can believe that. So I think that is a solid bet to make here with the final pick to close out my bullpen. All right,
and you know what? He's got so much familiarity with the staff, too.
I mean, I know the organization loves him. So, and the pitching coaches are all remain the same. So I know Drew French will be vouching for him just as much as anybody. So let's run through the squads here, and I'll go through by the order in which they were picked. So starting with Team Josh, went Gunnar Henderson, number 1, slam dunk pick. I let you get Pete Alonso. You're welcome for round number 2 to give you the star-studded infield. Trevor Rogers was your 3rd pick to lead your rotation. Taylor Ward out in left field, not catcher. Zach Eflin, number 2 starter. Jackson Holliday, second base. Ryan Helsley leading your bullpen. You will be playing Blaze Alexander at 3rd base, as that is your final spot there. Colton Cowser in center field. Kobe Mayo will be your DH. You have Andrew Kittredge in the bullpen, Cade Povich in the rotation, Grant Wolfram, Trey Gibson as your number 4 starter, Dietrich Enns closing out your bullpen, Enrique Bradfield Jr., top prospect in right field. Brandon Young is your final pitcher, and then Maverick Hanley as your catcher. How are you feeling about that squad?
Until you got to the last pick, I'm feeling quite good. But, I mean, again, anything can happen throughout the season. We saw the Orioles deploy MLB, the most players in MLB history last season. Hopefully that's not the case for their sake in terms of health and injuries. But I'm liking the squad, especially liking the infield. And,
some outfield's pretty solid,
looking
too.
Pretty good.
I mean, honestly, your lineup in general is definitely the better group, I think.
I'm certainly getting the run production.
Yes, certainly. A lot of the home runs will be hit by your guys. So that is Team Josh. As for Team Matt, I led off with Kyle Bradish. Adley Rushman will be my catcher with Samuel Basayo at DH. Shane Boz in the rotation. Jordan Westberg, 3rd base. Chris Bassett. Tyler O'Neill in the outfield. Dean Kramer as my number 4 starter. Dylan Beavers in left, Ryan Mountcastle at first base, Tyler Wells in the bullpen, Jeremiah Jackson as my trusty shortstop, Ynier Cano, Heston Kjerstad in the outfield. Weston Wilson was my second baseman. Luis De Leon as my final number 5 starter. Rico Garcia in the bullpen, and Albert Suarez closing things out. Gotta say, don't love my infield one bit. I do have Jordan Westberg, but other than that, guys that really aren't assured a ton of playing time in Ryan Mountcastle, Jeremiah Jackson, and Weston Wilson. So certainly the rest of my lineup, rest of my team is going to have to carry that load. But the pitching staff, I think, is where I am really going to be able to separate myself with that top 4 of Bradish, Shane Baz, Chris Bassett, and Dean Kramer. Some upside in there, some innings guys as well. So I do feel good about that group and being able to carry me. I just really got to hope that Adley Rutschman and Samuel Basayo really do form the true dominant catching duo that they're expected to be.
And you know what? That's definitely a hot topic across Birdland. And, many wondered, when they handed Samuel Basayo that certainly deserved extension that in the very near future could look like a very team-friendly deal. But now what a pairing, man! Back-to-back picks there in your first 3 rounds, but that's why we go Gunnar and Pete in back-to-back rounds. And
if you had left me Trevor Rogers, you could have taken Basayo there with the 3rd pick, but you decided to roll the dice. I couldn't let you get away with that.
Yeah, there were a couple definitely leverage. Oh man. I can't believe Kjerstad lasted that long.
I know. I'm hype about the Kjerstad pick for sure.
Especially given his spring, and that you hope that the injury issues are behind him. How hot he's looked this spring, but in that round before that, I took Grant Wolfram, and he's pretty hot right now in terms of what he's been able to do this spring.
Could be this year's Brian Baker as the guy who barely was on the team to start the spring, and then turns out to be one of their best relievers throughout the season. So,
and from a team perspective, hopefully they're continuing to be competitive throughout the season, and he's not dealt.
If some of these guys get traded, that might change the calculus here come late July. But we will have to see what the team looks like by then. Until then, let us know in the comments. Let us know on social media what you think of the 2 squads. Whose squad is going to be better? I think both of us are feeling pretty good, so it'll be fun to keep track of this throughout the year. Maybe we'll have Sam weigh in on the next episode and see what he thinks. We can kind of run through that with him. So that's going to go ahead and wrap here. Thanks, y'all, so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
wherever you get your podcasts.
Anywhere. Please like and subscribe. Give us 5 stars. It means a lot to us. Also give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And that's all the social medias, right? Yeah, that's all the social medias. Josh, any final words for the good people?
Man, excited to continue to be down here in Sarasota with you. We'll see who's darker once we get back up to Baltimore.
You got the leg up on me, I gotta say.
Yeah, you have had that. You've had the edge of being down here.
I think I end up looking a little more pink than I do dark, but we'll find out. We'll find out.
Looking forward to the rest of my time down here in Sarasota. Going to be seeing some old faces with Craig Albernaz today, making the trek down there to Port Charlotte. But tune into Early Birds. We've got a ton of coverage continuing to come for you on all platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. And this was a pretty fun exercise. I'm confident in my picks.
I'm glad you feel good. I feel even better. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Be sure to tune in next episode on Monday. I'll be back in Baltimore hanging out with Sam Cohn at our office studio. So be sure to check that out and see the new digs. I'm excited to see it. All right, all. Thanks so much for listening, and have a good one.
We've won millions, taken on the largest insurers, and backed up our reputation with big wins in the courtroom. But only one injury case matters, yours. So if you want to win, we're ready to fight for you.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.